welcome to part 2 of my back training program. So please remember that if you have not completed part 1, or you're in pain, or you can't get your neutral spine or your bracing of your abdominal muscles, then please do not attempt part 2, or make sure that you're still in your range of your pain movement. You're doing your pain scale 1 to 10. So please take care doing this program, but I hope that it will help your backs. And any questions, please message me, and remember to subscribe to my channel. So you're with Kaz Fitness this morning, and this is our part 2 of our back training program. So we're going to start doing our exercises now for our back to strengthen, to train the muscles. We're going to do some glute work, we're going to do some leg work, we're going to do our squat to our chair, some squats. Exercises should be performed daily for 4 days, and then you have a rest. So 4 days on, a rest, 4 days, a rest. Each exercise can be done for 10 repetitions. They're slow, controlled at all times, and remember your pain level 1 to 10. If you get pain, you stop. If you need to, you go back to part 1 if you forget neutral spine, or if anything gets too much. So let's start at looking at our squats. So we're going to do a half squat or a squat to a chair to a sit position, to look at how we sit to our chair and back up. So think about your neutral spine. Make sure that you've got that neutral spine. Your feet are in line with your knees and your hips. The abs are into a third, so your abs are braced. So when we sit down into a chair, we are bending the knees. The hips are in effect hinging. Take the arms out in front of you. Keep looking forwards, slightly down to sit into your chair. So the back stays nice and long. Release the hands to your sides. So coming back up is exactly the same. The feet are flat. Brace the abs. Lift the arms up to chest level. Push through the heels. Hinge through those hips and push forwards. So let's just do up to 5 reps of sitting and back up. So we're hinging, we're sitting, lifting the arms, looking forwards and down, bracing through the abs, keeping that back nice and long, and you're lifting all the way back up. So you're sitting, lifting through to the crown of the head. Good. So we don't have to rush this. Think about feeling it through the legs. Let's just do one more. Nice work. Good. So come back to your standing position. So we're going to finish in a standing position with that nice neutral spine. Brace the abs, looking forwards. Good. So hopefully sit into a chair and back up was okay. It was good. If not, you keep practicing sit into your chair and back up. So we can take it to a squat. So if your chair sitting was easy and good, take it to a squat. So feet stay hip width apart. Keep that abdominal wall pulled in, lengthen through the back, keep your neutral spine. So push the bottom back, knees out over the toes. We're still only going to go to a half squat. We're not going to go too far. So you're squatting, pushing the bottom back, bracing that abdominal wall. Keep looking forwards, keep the chin slightly tucked. Nice. So let's just do 2 more. So knees over the toes, keep that back nice and long. Don't come too far down. So hinge from the hips, but keep that back long. If you come too far and start pushing forwards, take it back a level. Nice. So from our squat, we can come to a 1 leg squat. Now the reason for doing a one leg squat is that we want to work into the side of these glutes, into the bottom. So very often our glutes are weak. When we squat with both legs, our hamstrings do all the work, and if we've got weak glutes, the back then becomes weaker as well, because we're using different muscles to make our movements. So you can hold the chair. If you want to, you could hold a wall. Take one leg behind you, tap that foot to the floor, and the other foot, you've got your knee over your toe. So lengthen through that back, think about the hips staying nice and level, and just bend your front knee over the toe and let your back knee just come down towards the floor and back up. So you can take that leg back further if you need to. So we're bending down and back up. So again, if you wanted to, if you thought that having that foot on the floor made it too easy, you could lift that foot off the floor and come to a one leg squat here. You could tap your toe to the front here. We're not going low. Look at the hips, keeping nice and level, that back staying nice and long. So let's do one more on this side. So keep that neutral spine, hinge, and back up. So let's go to the other side. So you can take that leg back. So you're bending that knee and dropping that front knee here. Or you could take that leg off the floor or tap that toe on the floor. But you're keeping that back nice and long and only going down and back up as far as you feel able to. So strengthen through the bottom, through the quad, through the leg, through the back. That tummy is in, the neutral spine. Good, one more. Good. So just walk through the feet, relax off. So that was our squats for a bit of strength. You could put that into your resistance training if you want to. So when you're doing your resistance training with the bands that we did in level 1, you could add your squats if you want to that routine. So let's now talk about our exercises that we can do. So bring yourself down to the floor. Now when you're down on the floor, I want you to think all the time about your positions. So we have 3 exercises that we can do that are called the big 3 for our backs and for the abdominal bracing. So one of those exercises is being in a 4-point kneeling position. So when we're in a 4-point kneeling position, we've got our knees directly underneath our hips and our hands directly underneath the shoulders. Now think about your back staying long. So when you're in this position, do not let your tummy sink and have that arch in your back. Draw your tummy in, pull your pelvic floor up, tuck the chin slightly and look forwards and down. So you could stay in this position and just find your position. Imagine that you've got a spirit level on your hips and your shoulders, or that you've got headlights on the bottom that are beaming back. Anything that makes you keep those hips level is fine with me. So breathe, excuse me. So the first level that we're going to do is literally keep, oh, I'm so sorry, and keep your feet on the floor. So one foot, just take it back as though you're lengthening across the floor, and then bring it back in. So we're going to do 5 on one side. So lengthen the leg out. Now if you feel your hips twist, don't take it all the way out and make the move smaller. So we're doing 5 on one side, we're going to do 5 on the other side, and then you're going to have a rest. Good, so let's do 5 on the other side. So make sure you're stable. Remember, it's slow, it's controlled. Draw those abs in, so 5. When you've done 5 on each side and you've rested, you're then going to do 4 on each side and rest. And then you're going to do 3 on each side and rest. So that's how we're going to work through our exercises. 5, 4, and 3. Good. So do one more. So our 4-point kneeling maintains stability while increasing the complex of limb movement. So we're maintaining our stability through the back by drawing in through that tummy and staying nice and stable. And we're taking our limbs out or in to increase our stability. So you would do 4 and then you would do 3. Well, I'm going to show you the next stage. So you have another level here, and if you want to, keeping those abs braced, if you can do the foot on the floor, you could slightly, as you take it out, lift that leg off the floor and back down. So lift the leg off the floor and back down. So the hips are level, they are not moving. If you do this and lift and find yourself twisting through the hip or that knee turning of the other leg, you've taken the leg too high. You've got to think about lengthening. Really brace that tummy and back in. Good. So let's do the other side. So lengthen. And in. Good. Make sure your knee comes under your hip. So really concentrate on where your body is in relation to where it should be. So we're working a bit on proprioception. Nice. Should we do one more? Why not? Good work. Good. So have a little rest if you want to off of the wrists, because the wrists can start to hurt if you're on them too much. If you ever need to, you could get a block or a towel or something to put your hands on to help with the wrist, but obviously you can rest anytime you need to, and you don't have to do every single one of these. Where as you get better, you might go straight to the last level. As you're beginning, you might stay on the first level, but I just want to show you all the levels. So our next one, I'm going to turn for this one so you can see. You're going to keep your hands and your knees directly underneath shoulders and hips where they were. So this time, I want you to lengthen the leg if you can. And you're just going to bend that foot towards the ceiling and then lengthen the leg back out. So bend that foot to the ceiling, lengthen the leg back out. So obviously now we're having to keep this position while we're moving our limbs slightly differently. If you find as you lift, you twist, then don't lift. Keep it straight and come back down. But try to lengthen, lift, out, in. So only do up to 5 on each side. So let's go to the other side. Lengthen, bend, out, in. Draw those tummies in. So if you're starting to sink, draw that tummy in, because as we start to concentrate on doing other things with our limbs, we will start to allow this abdominal bracing to stop. So keep that tummy drawn in. Good. Let's do one more. Nice work. So release again, have a rest. We're going to take it to one more level. So if you're finding that you're really stable, you've got that neutral spine, nice long back, the abs are drawn in, we're going to try and do opposite arm and leg. So we're really going to increase our stability. So opposite arm and leg. Now you could keep the foot on the floor, the hand on the floor, back in. You could lift that hand and leg off the floor, but check my body position. It isn't moving. My knee is still coming under the hip. My hips are level all the time. So think about where you are before you come to this last level. Nice. Let's just change sides. So let's just do 5 on the other side. Good. So if you need to, keep that hand and foot on the floor. Make sure that neck is long. You're looking down and slightly forwards. And if it starts to get too much, you rest. Nice. So come down and relax. So on your 4-point kneeling, you've got lots of different choices. You can just extend that leg, keeping the foot on the floor. You can lift the foot off the floor. You could extend the foot to the ceiling, or you can do your opposite arm and leg. But do not do too much too quickly. Always remember to imagine that spirit level on your hips and your shoulders, or your head lights on your bottom. So good work. Let's just do our mobilising. So in level 1, we did our mobilising for our cat to cow. So just mobilising your cat to cow to have a release. So remember, it's a mobilise. It is not a stretch. So we're just coming up and down. Good. Good. One more. Nice. So just relax. If you can, you could take the bottom to the heels. You could lengthen through the arms. If you can't do this because it hurts the back, you can just relax however you feel most comfortable in your own position. So the hands and knees is one of our big 3 exercises for our back for stabilisation. But before we go on to the other 2, we're just going to do a back lying exercise, which is a good one for thinking about our neutral spine again. So if you've got really bad backs, you can't lie on your back, obviously you can miss this out. You could put a small towel underneath the back if you need to. And again, if you've got neck problems or you want to, you could get a cushion to put under the head. So let's come to lying on the floor. So bend your knees so your feet are hip width apart. Your knees are facing the ceiling. Now I want you to lengthen from the base of the spine to the top of your head, and let your shoulders relax back and down with your hands to your sides. So we've got to think of this neutral spine again. So as you're led now, some of you would have let your back sink into the mat. Some of you will be led with your bottom pushed into the mat with a big arch here. Now both of those movements are going to put pressure on those facet joints, on the discs. So just take your fingers and place your fingers under your back. Now I want you to think about being able to get your fingers towards the spine, but you haven't got a gap between the fingers and the back and the fingers and the floor. So your back is now resting on the hands. The abdominals are braced. Take some breaths here and think about the position that you're in. Good. Now take your hands away from underneath your back and try to keep that position. So you've got a small gap that you could put the fingers into. If you struggle with finding your neutral spine, we can look at finding it the same way as we did standing, but rather than looking for a bowl of water, we're going to have a marble. So place a marble in your tummy, an imaginary marble, and think about your marble having to stay in the centre of your tummy. So if you were to push your bottom into the mat too much, your marble's going to run down towards your legs. If you push the bottom into the mat to try and indent your back, your marble's going to run up towards your head. So try to think about that marble staying in the centre of your tummy, and you can take the hands under the back to make sure that you've got what you think is your neutral spine. So thinking about keeping that position now, just stay there for a couple of seconds and take some breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. Consider how it feels through your back. keeping that tummy in. Good. So we're going to look again at extending through one leg. So you've got to keep that neutral position. So you can keep the hands under the back if you feel more secure, or you can take your hands to your sides. Keep your head down. Now imagine a marble under your heel and start to lengthen one leg out. Now if you feel your back indent to the floor, bring the leg back in. If you can, extend the leg all the way out and back in. So do this nice and slowly. Think about how it feels if your back starts to push in to the mat. Bring that leg back in. Don't take it out so far. When you've done 5 on one side, change to the other side. So while you're doing this, I'm just going to talk to you about why it's good to do this. So this is a good starting position in a lying on your back or a crook position to start to superimpose your limb movement, to increase your strength and endurance and your motor control. So this is why we're doing this movement, to try to increase the level of work that you're putting on yourself, but in a safe manner. So if you've done 5 on both sides, you can have a rest, but stay on your back. So if you find that hard, you are going to stick to that level while you concentrate on keeping that neutral spine. If you find that you could do it quite easily, you've got that neutral spine and you want to work a little bit harder, lift one leg so your knee is over your hip. Now you're going to tap that foot down to the floor and back up 5 times, keeping that neutral position. When you've done 5, you can change to the other leg. So keep the abdominals braced, keeping that neutral position. So this is slightly harder. We're taking that limb up and down to put extra pressure through the limbs, through the back, through the abs. When you've done 5, relax. Good. So if you find that easy, you still got your neutral spine, you could lift both legs off the floor. Make sure you keep that neutral spine. If you've arched or you're indented, bring both feet back down. But if you can, tap one foot, bring back to tabletop. Tap, bring back to tabletop. So only do up to 5 on each side, or 3 to each side. Your choice, your level. And relax, hug the knees in when you finish. So always make sure that you give yourself a release after each exercise. So again, that was 3 different levels, but you stick to the level you feel most comfortable at until you can achieve that with your neutral spine, the abdominals braced. Good work. So our next one that we're going to do is going to be a beginner's curl up. Now this is not a sit up, it is not forward flexion. If you've got disc problems, okay, we can't do forward flexion moves, you can't do your sit-ups. This is literally to work the transverse abdominis, so the abdominal muscle, and to practice holding that tummy and to just get some movement through lifting. So you're going to bend your knees, feet hip width apart. If you don't want to do this one, obviously you can skip it. So lengthen again through the back. And take your hands under your back. So find that neutral position. Relax the elbows back down to the floor. Relax your shoulders back and down. Imagine that you've got an orange underneath your chin. And you're keeping your ears away from your shoulders all the time. Now, if you struggle from bad necks, I've got a little tip for you to help strengthen the neck. Take your tongue and push your tongue to the roof of your mouth in front of your top teeth. So as you lift, you're going to take your tongue, push it into the roof of the mouth. So all I want you to do from here is keep your hands under your back, keep your elbows on the floor, and literally draw that tummy in, keep your neutral spine, and just lift the head and the neck off the floor. So you've still got your neutral spine. You're not coming any further than this. You're literally lifting and back down. So you're lifting and back down. Nice. Lifting and back down. So that neutral spine isn't moving. The abs are braced. One more. Good work. And release. Nice. So relax there. If you found that you could do that and you could do it quite well, you can progress to the next level. If that was too much for you, then don't do it or stay there and practice that level. Next level is exactly the same. We're not coming any further up, but we're going to lift the elbows off the floor. So this time, brace, neutral spine, lift only to where you were, but lift the elbows off the floor and back down. So keep that chin away from the chest, keep the ears away from the shoulders. Good. Let's just do 2 more. Good. And relax. So again, if you want to hug the knees in or release however you feel most comfortable. So if lying on your back is not an option at the moment, obviously you can miss those out. So the tongue, push into the top of the mouth was tongue, push into the roof of the mouth, into the teeth, and you'll find that it helps lengthen, strengthen through the back of the neck as you're lifting. So if you've got neck injuries, the neck hurts, you can practice that one. Good. So we've just got one more thing to do for this part of our level of exercises, and we're going to do a side plank. So all you're going to do is come to your side. You're going to come onto your elbow. So make sure that your elbow is directly underneath your shoulder, and then make sure that your elbow, your bottom and your feet are in a nice line. So if you've got a mat, line yourself up on your mat. Now again, brace those abs, lengthen through the back. Take your hand onto this shoulder. So you can use this hand to push on the shoulder to get shoulder stability. All you're going to try and do is brace the abs, lift your hip off the floor, keep your chest nice and open, hold and breathe. Nice, and lower. So let's go again. Lift, push down on that shoulder. So you're supporting that shoulder. And lower. Good. Can we do 3 more? So this is a really nice back strengthening exercise. It gets into the lower back. It works through the side. It works through the abs. So we're strengthening through the back to hold the discs, to strengthen through to hold the spine and protect. Good. So release. If you need to, come up and just release off through that shoulder. Good. So before we go to the other side, I'm going to show you your options for increasing it, and then obviously you've got your options you can go through. So if you want to increase it, to make it a bit harder, you can stay with the knees bent, but rather than pushing on this shoulder to get some support, you can take the hand to your side as you lift and you lower. But check your shoulders are back, the chest is open. So you could do it there. Or your last option, you could do it with straight legs. Here, lifting and lower in. You could take the hand back to the shoulder with your straight legs if you want to. But remember, it is your level. Do not go over your own level. So turn to the other side and let's do 5 in the easiest position. So elbow under the shoulder, bend the knees, draw those abs in, take the hand to the shoulder, so lift in and lower in. So it's a nice controlled move. We're lifting almost for say 4 counts and we're lowering. Good, let's do some more. Nice, one more. Good. So remember, if you want to make it harder, you could take the hand down, you could lift, but keep that back nice and long. Keep looking forwards, chin up away from the chest. Or you could lengthen the legs. You could take the hand back to the shoulder or keep it on the side so you're lifting and lowering. But I would say keep those knees bent until you are really strong through that core. So remember that while you're going through the exercises, you're doing 5 on each side, resting, 4 on each side, resting, 3 on each side, resting. Again, if you need anything, if you need any advice, feel free to message me. If you've got friends that would love this workout, would help their back, please subscribe to my channel. Please pass it to friends. Anything that you need at all, just give me a call. Well done, you worked really hard. I hope that your backs begin to strengthen and have a nice day. Part 3 coming up right now.